Recording. Megamind is an animated film by the company DreamWorks that parodies the supervillain and slash superhero genre and puts its own spin on it. The film explores themes of such as that of born versus nature and what it means to be a hero. It is an incredible film, able to upend the audience's expectations. Like when we think, like for example, there's this. We think the hero Metro Man will come back to save the city, but in reality, he doesn't come back. In reality, it's just Megamind disguised as Metro Man that comes back. The film also is great visually with its action, being able to set up a lot of the things, being able and having a lot of, well, simply put, great presentation, especially for a lot of the supervillain gadgets, and a lot of that is done in a pretty much into a very much fantastical style. That is very much with it. The film is also good at using music. Like for example, Megamind likes to use rock music, like Back in Black, while more Elvis style stuff is used for Metro Man. Another thing Another thing that's interesting about the film is that it's great at presenting to us the characters with great character growth throughout the story, especially with Megamind, who we see change quite a bit, thinking that he's supposed to be a villain at first, and thinking that that's his destiny, but eventually he finds himself becoming the hero out of necessity and to save his new found love with Roxanne. Uh, Yeah, we see at first Megamind thinking that he's supposed to be the villain and that and wants to kill Metro Man, thinking that that's his life purpose. But when he thinks he's finally accomplished that goal, shortly after he finds that that's not really what he wanted. He finds that he doesn't know what to do anymore. Now that he's gotten what he has always dreamed about accomplishing. It's from here that we see him struggle with this, with him feeling like he has no goal or no purpose in life, and that he eventually creates a new hero to fight, who gets the name Titan. However, it is the person who becomes the hero Titan is a very much a greedy person and ends up becoming a villain himself, causing Megamind to have to become the hero in order to fight him and go against what he thought was his nature. We it's an overall great film that shows how some people can be made out to be a villain and that can be turned into the villain by society, and how they can think that that's what they're supposed to do because society dictates to them. But in reality, they can be still good, and that sometimes part of what we become is partially created by our environment. We see in the film that Megamind ends up landing in a prison as a baby, and is raised by some inmates uh, raised by inmates and taught things like robbers are good and the cops are bad. And so this ties into the theme of of growth versus nurture, with a bit of a nurture stance on that. That that people aren't born necessarily evil, but that perhaps it's good partially to their environment. Because we see a lot of it. We see a lot of stuff that seems to support the idea. We also see that it's ultimately the film, when it comes to its filmography, is great at showing the city, showing sometimes big little shots of lots of buildings. Sometimes we have these little flying sequences at times. And a lot of it parodies superhero films. There's also very good at world building and things like that. There's quite a few set pieces that are kind of nice and kind of some really great details. For example, there's the scene where we see like Megamind locked up, but we see around him there's like a bunch of children's painting, kind of showing that he's been there for like a long time. Uh, we also see some other things like that helps establish like their personalities. Like for example, there's a scene where Metro Man is getting his like little he's having his little celebration, his statue and all that stuff. And we see that he treats people, like a lot of people around him, as props, not seeing them as people. He juggles babies around, and he calls the person just a random citizen, not treating them almost as if they're just another prop in his little theatrics while he's walking on water, almost like a Jesus metaphor. It's a fun film that shows us just quite a lot of little details. And I may have gone off the script because, well, this is just a film that I could talk about quite a bit. And following a set script is just not that easy to do. But we see that this film takes on the themes of whether villains are made by their environments or if people could change for the better, and if people around that person could change them. As we see, Megamind gets changed by his relationship with Roxanne, and becomes a good guy in the end. Having once thought that he was supposed to be a bad guy, and in the end, finding out they might not have been destined to be a bad guy. It's a very good film. It knows how to pace itself well. It's even able to interrupt up emotional scenes comically and do it well, which normally is something that would annoy me, but in this film it doesn't annoy me. And overall, this is a great film. It's good at parodying superhero stuff. It's good at doing what it does, and it's overall a good film. I recommend it heavily, and I would give it a 9 out of 10. And I hope that